Praise the Lord, we made it all the way up to FRARY Peak, just short of the actual marker itself, but we're standing on top of the mountain, on top of Antelope Island. We didn't make it for sunrise service, but we did according to what God gave us the wisdom to do, which was last night's big windstorm. Well, we kind of decided we needed to take a little more time. Instead of starting in the dark, we didn't know how long it would take us to hike this. And since it took us quite a bit of time, as you're looking right now at FRARY Peak, and as I come back down, you can see that we're not that far away from the peak itself. But when you get to the last few parts of it, even my wife Lori made it all the way up to here. When you get to the very end of it, and we'll zoom in a little bit for that for some people that like this kind of stuff. When you get to the very end of it, it's scrambling over rocks. When you start scrambling over rocks like that, well, you know, you're getting old, you know, you kind of think twice about how you want to spend your life and eternity, and you really don't want to go rolling down the edge of a mountain in order to meet the Lord in the air, because He may not rescue you halfway down. You may get beat up and still live through it. But praise the Lord, we did make it. We're celebrating our Passover, Easter's first fruits. We're rededicating our lives. As we said, we're going to add a message to this, but we just wanted to get a panoramic view of the 360 potential that you can see from here up on top of FRARY Peak. And FRARY Peak is actually really high. I mean, it was a lot higher up than I thought. Now, as we're going back towards another pan, we're going to show you kind of the mountain range so that we're not really looking out over the water. And you can see a lot of just archaic underwater type rocks that are amazing when you see them up close. Because you know that all at this point in time, there had to have been Lake Bonneville, you know, covering this place with water. And then if you really look at all the rocks, you kind of know that there had to have been Noah's flood, because obviously, how do you get water rocks as high up as you do? Unless there was upthrust, like, you know, we know that creation teaches. And there was like down thrust, you know, the crust that it goes kind of like, you know, shoving against each other. But the pressure of the water from Noah's flood, that's what caused those upthrusts and down thrusts. That's how we got the mountains. And that's why the mountains will be leveled one day when the Lord returns. But now we're going to end this panoramic view because we have, as you can see, our trail. We got a long ways to go, and it took us almost 4 hours to get up here. So unfortunately, we didn't make it for sunrise service, but we did take the time to give thanks to God and to pray and to rededicate our lives to Him. Because in this new year that we're celebrating, this new way, and Passover is often called a new year for Jews because spiritually it is. You've come out of bondage into new life. Well, as we are looking out over the Great Salt Lake, we're seeing how much it's dried up. How much the global warming has caused such climate changes that the Great Salt Lake Sea has become quite a bit of sandbars. As a matter of fact, it's not going to fill back up. It keeps going down farther and farther and farther, as you can see. And sadly, that's what the state of affairs is when it comes to mankind. Things are wearing down and wearing out, and it won't be long before the Lord returns. So, the Jewish New Year, though we do have a Rosh Hashanah for the Jewish New Year, and we do have a fiscal New Year, one of the religious calendars has Passover as the actual New Year, because you've entered or you've left the bondage of Egypt, which is a type of the world, and you've entered into new life when God spares them, and the first fruits offering is that newness of life, that born again feast, which is in a sense the first fruits. So it's awesome for us to be up here on this mountaintop, alone with God, people coming by and leaving, you know, they're hiking around. But at the same time, recognizing that the wind bloweth whither it will, you neither know where it's coming from nor where it's going, so too is everyone led by the Spirit of God. Well, I can tell you this, on Antelope Island, the wind is always blowing. So there's something special about dedicating Utah VidDevo, our new season of recordings, our new ability to do what we can, and to go throughout all of Utah in order to declare from, as I'm looking out over, I believe I'm looking towards Salt Lake City, and I'll zoom, maybe it'll pick up some Salt Lake City out that way. I can't see with my sunglasses on, so I'm not really focused in on how the zoom's working. But, you know, we'll try to clean this up if we have it, you know, back on the studio and get a chance to mess with it a little bit. But praise the Lord, you've seen everything that we can record up here. And we'll add a message later because right now we're exhausted. We need to get down the mountain. So God bless. It's been awesome.